Buying car insurance is pretty simple, really. People ask us all the time, how much car insurance do I need? So in this video, I'm going to share a few ideas on what you should consider when you're buying your car insurance. The most important piece of buying insurance are the liability limits that you choose. Insurance is meant to protect you from the loss that you can't afford and not the loss that you can afford. Most of us can afford our deductible of $250, $500, but you can't afford that $100,000 or $500,000 loss. Having large liability limits is the best way to protect you from a lawsuit as a result of a large car accident. If you have a home or feel like you have assets to protect, having large liability limits is the best way to protect yourself. So this is the most important piece of your car insurance. The primary way that you do this is called your bodily injury liability limit coverage. I'd recommend minimum of $250,000 per person for bodily injury and $500,000 aggregate limit. There's also limits that are called combined single limits where you want a minimum of $500,000 of liability coverage. If you have new drivers in the household, teen drivers, you definitely want to be carrying these large liability limits because statistics show that you're most at risk for a large liability loss and loss. If you're younger, maybe in your 20s, have fewer assets to protect, then you can get away with carrying lower liability limits. Still, the minimum that I recommend carrying are $100,000 per person for bodily injury and $300,000 aggregate total. Along these lines, you still want to cover, there's a property damage liability limit. I'd recommend carrying a minimum of $100,000 for property damage liability. Every state handles medical coverage just a little bit differently. In the state of Minnesota, we have what's called a PIP coverage or personal injury protection coverage. This is what's considered the Minnesota no-fault coverage, where it doesn't matter who's fault in an accident, just that the first $20,000 comes out of this medical coverage. Some states have no medical coverage at all. If you have two or more vehicles, I recommend what's called stacking your medical liability limit or your PIP liability limit. This gives you double the coverage for very little premium, really. It's really helpful if you're involved in an accident and you're injured. It's so much easier to deal with the car insurance company to deal with your medical bills than it is your health insurance company. So the more that you have, the better. And if it costs you $10 to $15, it's worth that extra premium. From here, it's a matter of choosing your deductibles for your comprehensive and collision coverage. A comprehensive claim, of course, is something other than a moving accident, typically hail damage, vandalism, theft, something falls on your vehicle. Collision is any moving accident, whether that's a single car accident or you just colliding with, say, a snowbank or a pole or something like that. Those are collision claims. A brief definition of a deductible is something that you pay that deductible amount before the insurance company pays out. $500 is probably the most common deductible that we see. So let's just say that you're involved in an accident and there's $4,000 damage to your vehicle. You pay that first $500 and the insurance company pays the remaining $3,500 to repair your vehicle. There's a number of optional coverages on your car insurance. I recommend at least 3 of them, and these are full glass coverage, rental or towing coverage, and rental car reimbursement. Typically, the premium is somewhat minimal, and it's worth it if you're involved in an accident. Full glass coverage relates to if your windshield is cracked and needs to be replaced, you have a zero or much lower deductible under your comprehensive limit. Towing is pretty self-explanatory. If your car breaks down involved in an accident, needs to be towed from a scene, you have your limit that you choose, $100 or some are 5 or 15 miles to be towed from that scene. Rental car reimbursement relates to if you're involved in or you have a claim and your car is going to sit in the shop for 3 days, 5 days. You're able to rent a car during that time when you don't have a vehicle. So these all come in very handy when you have a claim. So this has been a very brief summary of how much insurance you should buy and a little bit about your car insurance coverage. I hope you learned something from this video, and if you liked it, please go ahead and leave us a like or a comment down below. And if you'd like to see more educational information on your insurance coverage, please go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.